Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Well, if you've listened to our show Counter Spy, we've told you how creator Phillips H. Lords had gotten crossways with then FBI head J. Edgar Hoover about the way the FBI was portrayed on their shows. And one of the shows that he was upset how the FBI was portrayed is the show you're going to hear now. Maybe not this exact show, but one of these shows. Gangbusters. We've never presented any Gangbusters episodes before. This one goes back to July 2nd, 1949, and the story of the Metropolitan Motor Mob.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
And now, Gangbusters presents the case of the Metropolitan Motor Mob, which challenged persistent police in an endurance contest involving a wire snake, a rubber stamp, and $50,000 in cold, hard cash. Tonight, Gangbusters has asked the Honorable John J. Sullivan, former Deputy Commissioner and Chief of Detectives of the Police Department of the City of New York, to narrate the case of the Metropolitan Motor Mob. Commissioner Sullivan.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. I'd like to begin tonight's case in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. Early one evening, just about a year ago, in a small, unkempt neighborhood candy and stationery store, an attractive but overpainted blonde sat at a tiny fountain, drinking a soda and reading a magazine. A few steps away, the proprietor stood counting some of the small change, which made up a good part of the store's receipts.
George.
What?
You made the soda too sweet. Will you put in a little Vichy?
Put it in yourself. I'm busy.
I don't know the Vichy from the plain water.
For crying out loud, I'm trying to count up some money.
Nickels and dimes. 10 years you got a candy store. You don't know how to make a soda yet.
Hey, try that. And leave me alone.
George.
Water? What?
Why don't we sell the joint? There's a lot of other things we could be doing nights, you know.
Listen, Belle, it's always a good policy to have a nice little business to fall back on.
Yeah, but a lousy candy...
Hi, Belle.
Hi.
How you doing? Hey, George.
Call your mother, Cookie. She's at your Aunt Carrie.
Oh, is that so? When did she phone?
About an hour ago.
George, give me 2 nickels, will you?
Listen, your old lady can wait a minute. What'd you do with the car?
What do you think I did with it? I parked it around the corner.
You want to get it stolen?
Well, how's somebody going to steal it?
Just like you did.
Nobody can steal it. I took the jumper off the ignition.
Well, get it in the garage. You ought to open and let a hot car lay on the street. Some cop's liable to trip over it.
All right, give me a chance.
Give him a chance. It takes him 3 hours to go out to Bensonhurst and lift the car and bring it back here. He wants me to give him a chance. Get it in the garage, Cookie. I want to get it registered in the morning and move it for a fast sale.
George, just let me call my mother. Give me a couple of nickels for a dime, will you?
Here. Call your mother and get the car in the garage.
All right. A few minutes, George.
What's with his mother all the time, anyway?
Oh, it's psycho, whatever they call it. It's got something to do with Freud.
What's Cookie and his mother got to do with anybody like Freud?
I read it once in the paper, the Mirror, on Sunday morning, a big article in the magazine section.
You'd think a guy who was long past the 30 mark and has already had 1 or 2 bits in Sing Sing behind him could send his old lady a buck or 2 once in a while and forget about it.
Well, according to Freud, you get attached to something. It's a proven fact.
Because it was in a mirror?
In Cookie's case, it's his mother. With you, it's this lousy candy store. You're a big-time operator in hot cars. You got to set up with forged registrations and special keys and a whole crew of guys. The money's pouring in from all sides.
So what's that prove?
It proves you got no business spending 12, 15 hours a day in a joint like this. 3-cent newspapers and 5-cent candies. Your ego's attached to it. It plain psychological.
What do you want me to do? Check in at Bellevue for observation?
I want you to get rid of this chicken feed business and start enjoying the money we've been making.
Listen, Belle, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times.
How do you like that?
How do we like what?
My mother wants to know if it'll be all right if she stays overnight at my Aunt Carrie's.
I don't see what's wrong with it if your Aunt Carrie's got an extra bed.
She's worried there won't be somebody to fix me breakfast in the morning. Isn't she sweet?
Yeah, like sugar candy.
Listen, Cookie, get the car put up, will you?
Okay, I'm going. Have patience.
Patience. You know, you got a lot of nerve, Belle. Making a comparison between this candy store and Cookie's mother.
Lieutenant Hanson.
Adler, Lieutenant. Sergeant Ryan is out here with one Happy Harry Harris.
Is that the used car dealer?
Yeah, that's right, Lieutenant.
All right. Tell Ryan to bring him in.
Yeah. Lieutenant says step right in.
Okay, Abby, in there. I want the lieutenant to meet one of the prize chumps of our day and age. Go ahead.
Listen, Sergeant, it was a perfectly honest mistake.
Boss, this is Happy Harry Harris. Happy Harry, Lieutenant Hanson.
It's a pleasure.
Sit down, Happy.
Thanks. But I can't stay long. I got to get back to the lot, you understand?
What did his records show, Ryan?
Oh, his records are all right, boss. He just got stung like the rest of them.
Sure, I got stung. These two guys drive the car up on the lot, you understand? They say, you want to buy it? I say, sure, I want to buy it. That's what I'm in business for. Registration is perfectly okay with a stamp on it. But to me, it's perfectly legitimate deal. Nothing illegitimate, you understand? What am I supposed to do? Pass it up and let them go down the block to see my competition?
You should be more careful, Harry. You dealers gotten plenty of warning this bunch is operating all over New York and Brooklyn.
Listen, Lieutenant, I'm plenty careful, you understand? Who's out the $1,600 in this deal? Me, that's who. I check every angle. Look, when all a bunch of thieves need is a rubber stamp with the numbers, being careful ain't enough.
Yeah, there's one consolation, Harry. You're not the only one who's been hit.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to make me sleep nights. But it ain't going to get me back to 1,600, I'm out. That's gone, you understand?
What did you remember about this pair, Ryan?
Not much, Lieutenant. Just while they were making out the papers, the little one asked to use the telephone.
Who'd he call, Happy?
The guy, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, sounds to me like he's talking to his mother. I can't hear very well. I'm here, he's there. I'm making out the papers, you understand? I'm not paying particular attention. But he calls her Ma, over the telephone, that is.
I've been over this angle with him, Lieutenant. We got everything we need on it.
Okay, Harry. If we want you any more, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, thanks.
And you'll be more careful from now on, huh?
Careful? From now on, I investigate every deal from top to bottom, you understand? Every customer's got to bring his birth certificate. So long.
What number was that, Ryan? 22, boss. And there's no telling how many more we haven't heard about yet.
Don't you think that's just about enough?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Then suppose you start getting a line on those thieves.
Listen, boss, I got Adler, Mackey, and myself, all of us working overtime. We can't even get a smell. These people jump from Brooklyn to New York to the Bronx and back to Queens. They pick up a car here, they sell it to a dealer there.
Okay to come in, Lieutenant?
Yeah, Adler, come ahead.
Well, was Happy Harry any help?
Yeah, a lot of help, Adler. One of the thieves has got a mother.
No kidding.
You fellas better start making some progress on this. Chief's beginning to put the pressure on me, and I'm passing it right along to you. I want those thieves.
Ryan, how did Happy Harry know that one of them had a mother?
Called her on the telephone from the shack on the used car lot.
Huh?
Come to think of it, that's sort of a strange thing for a thief to do.
All the thieves I know are strange people, boss.
You know, I once handled a guy 5 or 6 years ago. We talked to him about car thefts, burglaries. He talked to us about his mother. What was his name? Copped the plea, got 2 to 5 years out of it, I think.
Oh, it couldn't be the same guy.
You could check him.
Dallas. Cookie Dallas. Yeah, Cookie Dallas.
Well, come on, Adler. Let's see what we can dig up on Mr. Cookie Dallas.
Hey, what are you doing with my car?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you. What are you doing?
Now, look, pal, don't get excited. I was just
I
admiring.
know what you're up to. I'm going to call the police.
No, you're not. What do you think I was doing?
Hey, what's going on there?
Holy...
Halt, police officer! Halt, you!
Hello, candy store.
Hello, George. This is Cookie. Did my mother call?
No, she didn't.
No, huh? But if she does, will you tell her I won't be home to sleep tonight?
What's the matter?
Listen, George, I had a little trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Well, Well, I was working on a brand new Roadmaster seat net, like off the floor.
So?
So the owner walks up out of the dark. I had to bounce him one on the head. Then a cop walks around the corner.
Did you get away okay?
Well, I ain't talking for no police station. Then we shot at me a couple of times. Lucky it was dark enough, I ducked down the subway station.
All right, now listen, we're laying off for a while. Get in touch with the boys. All of you stay away from here and stay away from the garage till I give the word.
Well, George, it ain't necessary. Nobody could identify me. It was too dark.
I said we're laying off for a while. Now go on home to Mom. I'll call you when I want you.
What's it, George?
It's Cookie. He had a narrow squeak. You know, I've been looking for something like this, Bill. Good excuse to keep Cookie and the boys from coming around. We're stopping the operation.
So what happens to the business?
Well, if the business goes on, the store stays open as usual.
I don't mean this lousy penny's worth of this, penny's worth of that business. I mean the automobile business.
Well, baby, there is now something like 50 grand in the kitty. Right or wrong?
Right, but the kitty ain't all yours, you know. Half belongs to Cookie and the boys as well, and me.
I decided it's all going to be mine. And yours.
So? What made you decide that?
That stands to reason. The man with the brains is entitled, don't you think?
Maybe. Maybe you're right, George. We could get rid of this candy store even if we have to give it away and travel. In luxury, we'll travel.
Oh, Belle, baby, how can I get rid of the candy store or go on business?
You sell it or you give it away or count me out of the deal. I'm tired of going through life with a candy store around my neck like a milestone.
Okay, Bill, I'll get rid of the candy store. But I gotta get my price.
So there's a candy store for sale. July 7th, 1949, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Metashare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Metashare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Metashare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now more of Gangbusters and the Metropolitan Motor Mob from July 2nd, 1948 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
So, Gangbusters listeners, detectives of the New York City Police Department were getting their first lead in their investigation of an annoying auto theft ring. The leader of the gang, who was planning to cut other members out of their share of the loot, anticipated trouble, but they didn't know just how much.
And now, here again is tonight's narrator, Commissioner John J. Sullivan.
Well, New York detectives were just getting a start on their investigation into this auto theft ring. It was the next afternoon when Sergeant Ryan walked from a restaurant toward a car parked on Union Avenue in Brooklyn.
Cookie's coming out, Lieutenant.
Good.
Just paying his check.
All right, Happy. I'll point out this man when he passes. His name's Cookie Dallas. He's an ex-convict with a record for auto theft. We think he may also be the one at whom a patrolman fired 2 shots last night. We don't know. I want you to take a good look at him and tell me if he's one of the men. The one that used the phone.
Yeah, Lieutenant. I'll take a look. But I don't have much recollection for the guy, you understand? The other one does all the transacting. The little one is just along for the ride.
Here he comes, boss.
Look him over, Happy. That one.
Yeah, you bet. I'm looking.
Well?
When he gets a little closer, my eyes ain't so good, you understand? I need glasses, but I kind of feel it print my personality, you know what I mean?
He's plenty close now.
Yeah.
Is he the guy?
He looks familiar, that much I'll say.
But is he the guy?
Well, I can't say definitely one way or the other, but he looks familiar, you understand? Like I know him from someplace.
That's not enough, Happy.
There goes Adler and Mackey right behind him.
And keep him there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I wish we'd picked up his trail last night. We might have had him already.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but if I could identify him, I would. You know me. But the little guy don't pay much attention, do you understand? But I know I recognize the other guy.
Okay, Happy. If Cookie's one of them, sooner or later he'll lead us to the man you can recognize.
George. Shut that thing off. Shut it off, please.
Okay. It's off, Belle.
6 o'clock.
Well,
6 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
I gotta get the store. Customers will be down wanting the Sunday papers.
Let them get them elsewhere. Who cares?
Ah, Belle, honey, I'm sorry. It ain't in my heart to sell the store.
Yeah, well, it's in my heart.
Like you said, it must be psychology, the same as Cookie's mother.
A man with brains enough to work out a perfect racket stealing cars don't have to peddle newspapers at 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
I'm sorry, Belle. I can't sell the store. If I gotta give up the car stealing racket and keep the store, I'll give up the racket.
And what if you gotta give up your wife?
Oh, now, Belle, don't force me to make such a choice.
Oh, look at him. The big martyr standing there expecting somebody to shed tears for him.
Belle, I can't.
If you stick around the store, how long do you think it'll be before Cookie and the others will want their dough? How long can you stall?
I'll think of something to tell them.
Okay, George. You keep the store.
Oh, honey, baby, I'm glad you can see it my way.
I can't see it your way, George. I just got plans of my own, and they don't include any candy store with newspapers at 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
Sergeant Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Adler. Is the lieutenant around?
Not right now, Adler. What's doing?
Mackie and I are still behind Cookie.
Yeah? Anything?
He took his mother out for an evening.
Oh, that's nice.
They left home about 8 o'clock. He took her right to the Paramount.
You go in?
Yeah, we sat a couple of rows behind him.
How's the picture?
I've seen better. One of those high-class westerns.
Where's Cookie now?
He's buying his mama an ice cream soda.
Well, what flavor?
Listen, Ryan, how about talking to the lieutenant? I think we ought to give up on Cookie. Been with him since last Thursday, and all we've seen is his mother.
Your idea, Adler.
I regret opening my mouth.
The boss says stick with Cookie, so you stick with him. Maybe his mother will steal a car.
Hello, pal. Hope I ain't too late.
Oh, don't let it bother you, Cookie. There's nothing I like better than waiting in a saloon all alone. Sam.
Yeah, thanks.
What do you want to drink?
Oh, no, not a thing, pal. I just finished an ice cream soda not a half hour ago.
What flavor?
Strawberry.
And you keep me waiting because of an ice cream soda.
Well, it wasn't the ice cream soda. It was a long picture. Can't expect somebody to take his mother out without buying an ice cream soda or something after, can you?
No, Cookie. I guess you can't.
Well, what's the deal? George ready to start operating again? It's about time.
No, George ain't ready.
Well, listen, what's the matter? I don't see it getting so hot with cops. We got a good thing. We got to milk it. Boys are getting impatient. Not to mention me.
George says no.
All right, George says no. What about the dough I got coming? What's holding that up? I can use it.
Listen, Cookie. If George is so stubborn, we could start right up operating again without George.
Well, sure we could. Without George?
Yeah. You get the boys to lift the cars. I'll take care of making up the registrations and the license plate.
Now, wait a minute, Beth.
I know what's done. I've seen him do every one of them. There's no trick to it.
Yeah, but George ain't going to be very happy.
Oh, he'll be happy enough with his candy
Fred,
store.
you're
You
sick of-
want dough, don't you, Cookie?
If George would give me what I got coming, I'd be okay.
He won't give you what you got coming.
Who says he won't?
I do.
That ain't no way to do.
He won't give it to you unless you and the rest of the boys get together and get tough. Awful tough.
Whose side are you on, anyway?
I've had enough of George and that lousy candy store. I want to live, Cookie.
Yeah?
Oh, he dreams in nickels and dimes. Well,
Give me some time to think it over.
I'm anxious to get started. Start thinking right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Lieutenant,
Yeah?
Mackie just called.
Where is he?
He and Adler were behind Cookie. Cookie took his mother home, then went to this bar in Flatbush. There was a woman waiting there. He went right over to a table and sat down.
Who is the woman?
Mackie didn't know, boss. They talked for a half hour or so, and then Cookie left alone. Apparently went home and to bed. Mackie followed him there, and Adler stayed in the bar with intentions of following the woman. But then...
Stay here, Ryan.
All right,
Lieutenant Hanson.
Hello, Lieutenant Adler.
Yes, Adler.
Did Maggie call in?
Yes, we know all about the woman. Who is she?
Well, she left the bar right after Cookie did. She took a cab, went right to this apartment house on the bay. She used the key on the street door, went upstairs on the self-service elevator. Stopped on the 4th floor, and that's where she apparently got out.
Any idea who she is?
Yeah, I think so. I woke the superintendent, and he said the only woman of that description living on the 4th floor is a Mrs. George Rossi. Husband operates a small candy store in Williamsburg.
All right, Adler. Go on home and get some sleep. We'll start checking up on this couple in the meantime.
Good morning, George.
Good morning, Belle.
How's every little thing?
Where were you till nearly 2 o'clock this morning?
I told you, George, if your heart's all in this candy store, we're through. I'll make my own arrangements.
And from a good source, I understand you started making such arrangements.
What do you mean, a good source?
How do you like that, George?
Cookie, what?
Hello, Belle.
George, whatever he told you is a lie. It's a plain lie.
Cookie, watch the store a minute. Belle and I are going in back and talk this over.
Yeah, George.
Now listen, George.
In back, go on.
Watch who you're shoving.
In back, I said, in back.
All right.
Now go on.
Now listen, George. Who are you going to believe, me or a party like Cookie?
You should have known Cookie would come running back to me. I
George,
would have gotten
you can't-
away with it. Now I got to give the boys the money. I got to start operating all over again.
Yeah, but that's good, George.
All because you're too high class for a candy store, huh?
Mandel Kramer's character's a nice guy. July 2nd, 1949, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at, no pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, and now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue the mountain. Cue the Air Force. Cue the maraschino cherry. Okay, 25,000 cheering extras. Now, you want to try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Doesn't television stretch the imagination?
Up to 27 inches, yes.
She was born in a humble shack amidst the lemon groves of Goleta, California.
Mommy, don't cry. You know what they say? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I was gonna say life sucks, and then you die. But I like yours better.
And with that, Alexandra Johnson launched her lemonade stand.
Lemonade, nickel a glass.
Every day, even during the frigid California winters, a bone-chilling 72 degrees, you could find her.
You can have a sour, you can have a sweet. Little girl's lemonade will knock you off your feet.
The little girl with the sour brew wanted more, national distribution, franchises, and so she rolled out a well-budgeted advertising campaign.
Me and the rest of the dock workers only drink little girl lemonade.
She was made president of the International Sour Drink Association and chosen to give the keynote speech at their convention.
You all set with words of wisdom, honey?
You know what they say, Mommy.
Always advertise so consumers think of your product first?
I was gonna say never swallow a lemon seed or a watermelon on your tummy.
This fabricated but interesting story is to remind you that it's called advertising and it works.
Put your message on this national advertising platform by emailing classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Gangbusters. And yes, that was, as I said, Mandel Kramer. You remember him as yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and also from A Counter Spy. Here he's playing a bad guy, July 2nd, 1949.
Let's see if this is too high class for you. I'll show you too high class, huh? Too high class! Now sit down here. Sit down and think it over. From now on, maybe you'll act like a good wife should. A good wife should stay out of her husband's business affairs. Now, Cookie, I think everything is now straightened out.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, George. One of the boys and me get our money.
Tonight, Cookie. And tonight we start operating again. I'm now convinced the cops got no line from your little incident.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Like I said, Cookie, sometimes women get like that. She's what's called a psychological liar. She can't help it, you know. Makes up these stories out of thin air. I read about such a case in the Sunday Mirror. Big article in a magazine section.
All right, Happy. We'll walk by the store again. Take a good look in the window. I've got to know definitely whether that's the man.
Yeah, Lieutenant. If I can identify him, I will. I want to help the lawyer, understand?
Okay. Take your look. Well?
That's him, Lieutenant. The one behind the soda fountain is him. I know him anyway. He's got that peculiar look, you understand?
Okay, hold it here.
Yeah.
Ryan, stay here.
Well, you know, I've been in the automobile business since Plymouth was a rock. But from where I sit, you never think cops work this hard.
Yeah, Lieutenant. How did it go?
Happy sure George is the guy.
Well, positive.
Good.
I want men on both Cookie and George 24 hours a day. If and when they grab another car, we got them right. And that's the way I want them. Right.
George. How's it look, Cookie? It's a new Cadillac sedan.
Doors and windows?
They're locked. There won't be no trouble.
Where's the owner?
In that bar for a drink.
We got time?
Can he have his drink in 20 seconds? What are you so nervous about?
Oh, it's a long time since I worked on the streets.
Well, so what? You never forget.
All right, let's go.
Lean on the no-draft ventilator, and I'll slip the loop through.
Okay, I know.
All right, lean on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
How you doing?
Hold it.
Hurry it up, will you?
There she is.
All right, get in.
See? I'm an expert.
How are you on the ignition?
Just let me handle it, George. Don't get nervous.
All right, then handle it.
You know, George, I'm surprised at you. Considering you taught me this business. Just goes to show you how rusty you can get.
Cut out the conversation, will you?
There it is.
All right, get going.
Oh, what a sweet motor.
Yeah.
You know, George, someday I'm going to lift one of these caddies for my own personal use.
Yeah, it looks like we're okay.
There's nothing to worry about, George. It was like lightning.
Yeah. I guess I was just a little upset about Belle. Who'd ever think a wife of 7 years standing would suddenly lose her head like that?
You know, for a while I believed her.
Cookie, I wouldn't do a thing like that, not me.
Yeah, and then I got to thinking. George wouldn't do a thing like that.
Don't waste any time. Get this thing into the garage.
Yeah, I want to get home. You promised my mother I'd hang some pictures. You know, I got a mother that just...
Cookie.
They're right in back of us.
Gun it. We can leave them in this boat.
Coming up on us. Drive. It's down to the floor now. Take the corner. Hold on. Watch it. I can't hold it.
Watch him. Maybe they're faking.
Oh, that ain't faking.
Adler, get an ambulance.
Yeah, it's a call box on the corner.
Well, boss, I guess we got them.
I guess so, Ryan.
Hey, look at that mess.
You mean the thieves or the car?
The car. The thieves can be patched up.
Yeah, and they'll have a long time to mend.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, these car thieves were taken to the hospital and eventually recovered from their injuries. The whole gang was arrested, tried, and convicted. Its principal members are now serving their terms in Sing Sing.
Thank you, Commissioner John J. Sullivan, for this most interesting case history. And congratulations to all the New York detectives who participated in this difficult investigation. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Liss and directed by George Zachary with Vandal Kramer and Eileen Palmer in leading roles. Olin Ty speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
July 2nd, 1949, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, it's time to start a brand new Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story. This one has to do with a gold mine, the Midas Touch Matter. This episode originally broadcast July 2nd, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for
Johnny Dollar.
Pat McCracken, Universal Adjustment Bureau.
Oh, hi, Pat.
This is my third call. Where you been?
Out buying some tackle. Want to go fishing?
Fishing?
Yeah, I'm heading down to New York State. Esopus River, maybe the Beaver Kill. Trying to snag myself some nice trout. And, Patsy, my fishing is one thing you aren't going to interfere with.
Wouldn't think of it. But why don't you try Lake Mojave?
Huh? Where's that?
Along the Colorado River, out between Nevada and Arizona.
What?
Sure, be the guest of Greater Southwest Insurance and Liability.
What are you talking about?
I don't know how you'd value those Esopus River trout, but there's a fish out there that may be worth $3 million. Johnny?
I'll be right over.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Greater Southwest Insurance and Liability Company, Kingman, Arizona office. Following is an accounting of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Midas Touch Matter. Expense account item 1, cab fare from my apartment to the Universal Adjustment Bureau, 8242 North Spring. When I got there, Pat McCracken was standing holding the door of his office open for me.
Buy in, Johnny, but don't bother sitting down.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
It means you haven't got time. You all packed?
Oh, you bet I am. For a trip to the Esopus and some of those pretty rainbows and eastern brook trout. Got a new lure oil called Fast Strike I want to try out. I hear it's great.
Sorry, but if there's going to be any actual fishing, it's going to be for Lake Mojave bass.
Says you.
Here are your plane tickets. Here to New York, nonstop to Los Angeles, and out to Las Vegas. From there, you'll have to go to Kingman, Arizona by car.
Slow down, boys. Slow down.
The man to see in Kingman is Jake Kessler at Southwest Insurance.
Oh, Pat.
Yeah?
You mind telling me what it's all about?
The Midas Touch Mine.
New racket and uranium?
I said Midas. Gold mine.
Oh, sure. Well, what's the insurance angle?
Ask Jake Kessler when you get to Kingman.
Oh, but you can at least tell
Look,
me what...
You've only got 20 minutes to catch your plane to New York.
You mean if I decide that...
And with $1.5 million, maybe $3 million at stake, nobody's going to quibble too much over your expense account.
Maybe I should take a crack at those Lake Mojave bass. Expense account items 2 and 3, $2.90 even, a handful of American Express traveler's checks, and cab fare back to my apartment for my luggage. Then to the airport from my plane to New York to Las Vegas, Nevada. It was 11:30 p.m. when the big plane slowly glided down out of the clear starlit sky. And unless you've seen the billions of stars that twinkle brightly through the clear, dry air over the Mojave Desert, you've missed a real thrill. We glided down toward the landing strip on the edge of the town of Las Vegas. From the air, the myriad multicolored lights made the fabulous resort sparkle like a field of jewels. Item 4, 30 cents phone calls to car rental agencies. They were all closed. Item 5, 65 cents per cab to the Flamingo Hotel, where I decided to spend the night and drive on to Kingman in the morning. Item 6, hotel overnight, food, and incidentals, $178.30. If you know Las Vegas, you know what that word incidentals means.
15 odd and black. Place your bets, please.
The dice are passing. All right, there we go. 6 to the point.
I'll say this much. I tried to make some expense money on the side, but, well, I guess I shouldn't have tried to cover so many of the gambling joints. If I'd stayed at the Flamingo, where I'd always made me a buck or two at the casino. But this time, Lady Luck just wasn't on my side. Anyway, well... Item 7, $50. Deposit on a rental car the next morning. I headed south and east toward Kingman, Arizona. First stop, Hoover Dam, where that tremendous hunk of steel and masonry straddles the Nevada-Arizona state line. And I took a brief but longing look at what I could see of Giant Lake Mead. I wanted to stay right there, break out my fishing tackle, and take a crack at some of the huge lunker bass for which Lake Mead is famous. But duty is duty, or something. Anyhow, I hit the highway again across the hot, dry desert toward the city of Kingman. At this time of year, at this time of morning, the thermometer hits the 100 mark without any trouble at all. And the occasional swimming pools and motels outside Kingman look pretty inviting. But I drove straight to Jake Kessler's insurance office on East Palm Drive.
Oh, hi. You must be Dollar. It's a good name. Come on in.
Jake was tall, angular, well-tanned, and dressed in blue jeans, open denim shirt, high-heeled boots, and broad-brimmed hat. He looked as though he'd be more at home on a range pony than in this insurance office.
All right, Dollar, let me tell you what this is all about.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Kessler.
Jake, you want the folks around town to think I'm putting on airs?
Okay, Jake.
By the way, Johnny, I hope you didn't make any arrangements to stay right here in Kingman, did you?
No, my bags are still out in the car.
Good. I got a place waiting for you down at Catherine Landing.
What's that?
Lake Mojave Resort's what they call it now. It's nice cabins, good restaurant, nice people, right down at the edge of the lake. Too bad you aren't a fisherman.
Well, I just happened to have brought along a couple of rods and reels.
Good boy. Then you'll love it. Buster Favor down there will show you spots where you can haul in the prettiest mess of largemouth bass you ever saw. 5, 6 pounds, maybe more.
Oh, stop making my mouth water, Jake. I'm supposed to be here working on a case.
Well, every man's entitled to a little time off for fishing. And you look like you could stand some.
Brother, you are killing me. Listen, Pat McCracken at Universal Adjustment Bureau said something about a gold mine.
Yeah, I contacted Pat because I knew he'd know where to find you. It's the Midas Touch Mine, Johnny. And it's right down that neighborhood where you'll be staying.
Well?
The mine was abandoned back in the early 30s. Worked out, apparently. But about a year ago, Hard Luck Dennis took another look at it.
Who's he?
Dennis? Yeah. Prospector, promoter. Here and there, Arizona, Nevada, California, he's found himself an old mine, pecked away at it, and managed to scratch out a fair living for himself.
You said promoter?
Yeah, well, that was in Texas, mostly. Never was able to get the full story, but it appears he got some folks to invest in some kind of phony oil stock down there a couple of years ago and had to skip out. Couldn't have been too serious, so, because the law never bothered chasing him up here.
Or else he was able to make things look legal enough.
Could be. Anyhow, he's been back in this country for a while now, poking around the hills, looking for the big strike again. You know how prospectors are.
Yeah, I've heard.
Finally, a while back, he started prowling around the old Midas Touch. First thing you know, he'd got a lease on it.
Well, I still don't see the insurance connection.
You will. And you won't like it.
Okay, go on.
Well, next thing we knew, he'd got a report on some ore samples he'd brought into town here at the assay office. Johnny, well, you wouldn't believe it.
Good, huh?
Johnny, it looked like a prospector's dream come true. Ore worth about $1,100 a ton. All right, now, it takes money to work a mine like that, no matter how you figure it. First of all, he had a big pumping job to do.
Pumping? Out there in the middle of the desert?
That's right. You see, when there was just the Colorado River running down the valley, it was different. But since Davis Dam was put in to form Lake Mojave about 10 years ago, the level of the water table in that whole area is raised considerably.
Oh, I see.
The Midas Touch was in a low spot, and parts of it were dug pretty deep. So now, with seepage from the lake feeding it, the lower level filled up with water.
Yeah. Well, now, Jake...
Simmer down, Johnny. I'm getting to it. Hard Luck Dennis needed money. A lot of money. So who should he come to but the Haskell brothers, 3 of my best clients.
So what happened?
I hate to keep chewing your ear off this way, but I've got to give you some background.
Shoot.
Ernie, Kevin, and George Haskell, they're money men from back east.
What do you mean, money men?
Oh, brokers. You know, stock market.
Oh.
They made themselves a big pile of dough, got the usual ulcers doing it, and then decided to give up and get as far away from New York as possible.
I don't blame them, but
when they got out here, instead of just retiring and taking it easy, you know, much as you might like it at first, you can get pretty bored just riding around on horseback and hunting and fishing all the time.
Get tired of fishing?
Huh?
Nothing. Go on.
Yeah, well, after a few months, they decided they'd have to have something to do with themselves, or at least something to occupy their minds, so they bought up the old Too Lazy 2 ranch.
Cattle?
80,000 acres north of Easton here. Not very good grazing land, but enough to keep 200-300 head of beef alive, and with Alex Bundy as their foreman, they did all right.
Well, now let's get down to...
Gentlemen ranchers, they called themselves, and that's just about what it amounted to. They built a nice house on the property, settled in it, and Well, not much work, but just enough worry and responsibility so that time didn't hang too heavy on their hands. Now, all their insurance is with my company. The Straight Life, that is. $500,000 apiece.
And you're afraid something's
yes,
going to...
sir, $500,000 each and double indemnity.
Wow. $1 million apiece in case of death by accident.
Right. Accident. So, let's get back to Hard Luck Dennis.
Well, that part's easy, isn't it?
Is it?
Sure. Dennis needs money to open his mine. The Haskell boys are obviously loaded.
Right. First off, even before he got his lease, he tried to sweet-talk him into putting up some money, but after years of fooling around with those bulls and bears in Wall Street, they were too smart for that. So we took him down in the mine, let him chip off some samples of ore, and had him take it themselves down to the assay office.
And was that the ore that you said tested so high?
Yes, sir. And from the minute they saw the report on it, you couldn't have held him back with a 20-mule team.
How much did they go in for?
$20,000 apiece, cash, on the strength of a handwritten agreement with Hard Luck Dennis that they'd get 30% of whatever came out of the mine.
Okay, Jake, now let's get down to business. Are you afraid that something connected with this Midas Touch mine and Hard Luck Dennis has put the Haskell brothers in jeopardy?
I'm afraid it's got beyond that, Johnny.
Huh?
3 days ago, Hard Luck took the Haskells over to the mine again for another look.
Yeah?
Cave in. They finished digging their bodies out yesterday morning. All three of them.
Hard Luck Dennis?
He wasn't caught in that cave-in.
Where is he?
Who knows?
Then for you, it's a question of a $3 million payoff on the policies or $1.5 million.
Yep, Johnny. A question of accident or murder.
Then for me, it's a matter of finding a killer.
Yeah, named Hard Luck Dennis. And when you do, look out for him.
Yeah. Tell me, Jake, does anybody know I've come here to look into this?
Oh, the whole town, I'm afraid. Maybe I should have kept it quiet.
Well, sometimes it is better if... Where are the policies?
Here, I'll get them for you. They're right in this little side office.
Who are the beneficiaries?
There's only one. The girl that was married to Kevin Haskell. The other two are bachelors. She lives at the ranch.
She filed a claim yet?
No.
Has, well, can you make the coroner's reports available to me?
Anytime you want. You get through here.
I'll take it for you. Johnny Dollar. I mean, this is the office of...
You're the one I want to talk to.
Huh?
I want to talk to you. I want you to meet me alone.
Oh? Who are you?
Tell you where and when in a second. And don't come carrying a gun, because, mister, I can outdraw you 2 to 1.
Who is this?
They call me Hard Luck Dennis.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, I find that one of the fishermen who hangs around Lake Mojave is a character called Death. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote this week's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Wow, real early to be dealing with this, but there we go. From July 2nd, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and the Midas Touch Matter getting underway. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station. Please take a moment to thank this station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Now, if you miss a day on this station, you do not have to miss a single show. Our shows are available through iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Got a complete list of where you can find our shows over at my webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find our social media links. You can contact me there. And you can also, buy me a coffee if you want to. Of course, that coffee money doesn't go into Folgers, rather, but it goes into more great old-time radio shows. And tell all your friends that great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.